Support WrestleTalk!
Well, he couldn't finish the story at WrestleMania, so he just started a new one on the Raw after WrestleMania, because Brock Lesnar not only teamed with Cody Rhodes to take on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa in the main event of the Raw after Mania, he immediately attacked and turned heel on Cody Rhodes and gave him a vicious beatdown around ringside. We will get into this, but first I need to do the bit of admin. I am Luke Owen, DAD. This is the Professor Dan Layton. Welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast, a review of the Raw after Mania. If this is your first time here, please do press the subscribe button. Give us a little thumbs up as well. Let us know your thoughts on this heel turn and Raw after Mania in general in the WrestleTalk.com/support. We're going to read out every single one of your thoughts above the $5. Thank you all so much for joining us here. This is our 6th of 6 live streams that we've done over WrestleMania
Marathon
weekend.
Man Luke Owen over here, by the way.
Into my 20th hour on air.
Yes, well played.
Thank you very much. I'm not here to brag, but I've done a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you've never been.
I've been on 3 of the 6. Well, the 4 of the 6. This is my 4th.
It is, but also you've done the most out, like a lot of hours. There were also 6.5 hour streams, 6 hour streams.
That's true. Yeah.
You've done a lot. You've done your shifts, bud.
Yeah.
But thank you all so much for joining us here in the live chat for what was a Raw after Mania that
it certainly was.
That was really bad, odd, poorly paced, boring, but it had a really interesting, I'd say, actual opening segment, because the Triple H promo at the start was just to be like, hey, we're WWE and we're cool. Thank you all so much. So the first actual segment I thought was really intriguing. And then effectively nothing happened for 2.5 hours.
That's true.
We then got a Matt Riddle return, which actually was quite cool, but he is going into the Miz card vortex. I've just coined that. That literally just hit me. I'm going to write that down. I'll use that in the editing.
Good job.
And then we had this main event angle. So the opening of the show after the Triple H promo was Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa came down to the ring to brag about the fact that they beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Cody basically immediately came out and said, you're one of the best in this business, but I know that you know that I had you beat.
Yes.
And the only reason you won is because that guy right there, in reference to Solo Sikoa, interfered on your behalf. So I'm only here to say one word: rematch.
Yeah.
And Paul Heyman said, where would you like this hypothetical rematch to take place?
Yeah.
And Cody said, tonight. I thought it was really good. Crowd were mad.
Oh, the crowd were very into it.
The crowd was so into the idea of Cody. Big Cody chance. Cody's still massively over. Roman was getting really good heat out of all of this as well. And, of course, the Bloodline turned him down. Because why would they?
Yeah,
why would they grant
logically.
this? Logically, they did not want to do this.
Yeah.
So, kudos to them. And they then said, well, Cody offered up an alternative. How about we instead have a tag team match player? And Heyman had a bit of counsel with Roman Reigns and said, we agree under 2 conditions. Number 1, that the person who is on your team wrestled at WrestleMania, which immediately rules out like a Bray Wyatt or a Jay White debut or something along those lines. 2, the person who does team with you will never be able to challenge for the world title that Roman Reigns holds. And they basically was like, no one's going to accept this offer because no one's going to give up that opportunity.
Yeah, it was designed to make Cody feel isolated. It was designed to make Cody be like, well, no one's going to. And I actually, what I partly liked about that was the fact that, we had this, Cody was never going to challenge for the AEW title. Yeah. That was baked into his story there. He knows what it's like to rule yourself out of a championship. And wishing that on one of his competitors when he's someone who intends to be a fighting champion. Yeah. That's a devil's choice. It's a really interesting piece of work there.
Yeah, really good point, actually. Well, I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the live show, but that's really just sort of sunk into me now. Him getting a curse that he had in AEW that he put upon himself and just adding that on to someone else. That's really nice. But it was answered by someone.
Immediately.
And it was answered by
Brock Lesnar.
And this was a great choice. And I thought they did a good job on commentary explaining why this is a good choice. It's cool because it's Brock and Cody teaming together. Okay, it's Roman Reigns. That's like a, whoa. Yeah. What a universe mode.
And Roman sold it very well. Yeah. Like, he was like, whoa, hang on, what's this? What's happening here?
Sort of thing that you'd just book in my GM mode because you're like, well, I've got them both here. They're not in title feuds. Let's put them in the tag team. And But crucially, more than that, Brock already cannot challenge for the belts.
Yes.
Because they had the last Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns match at SummerSlam last year. So Brock, it doesn't matter to him.
He's ruled out.
He's ruled out anyway. So he came down. He was proper happy Brock Lesnar. And it was a very cool moment. And then celebrating the ring was like, wow, that's pretty rad. That's pretty cool. Like, that was the image I chose for the thumbnail originally for this.
The tag team.
Boy, that had to change.
It really did. And it had to change sharpish. Well, it had to change about 3 hours later, but...
Because we got to the main event, and we all came to this realization that...
We only had 10 minutes left of the show.
And there were still introductions to be done, like ring introductions. We had all the big entrances.
The big special lighting. It was presented as a big time WrestleMania caliber main event. # Vince McMahon trademark. We'll get into that in the show.
And we were like, wow, there's not a lot of time for the actual wrestling on this show, which was already a show with a lack of wrestling on it. And then what happened, Dan?
What happened was Cody is being introduced by Mike Rome, who gets his full American Nightmare that he didn't get to say the night before, and then within seconds, from out of nowhere, an F5. An F5 from Brock Lesnar to Cody Rhodes, and then what can only be described as a beatdown for the ages.
Yeah, this was a heck of a beatdown round ringside.
Sold unbelievably by Cody Rhodes, who, by the way, if there were any doubt that this is a sort of walking icon of the business in so many ways, has been selling the effects of the night before the whole show. Full suit for the opening segment, selling his ribs, trying to smile at the crowd, grimacing here and there. A really wonderful performance in the promo segment. Really, really was quite something. Do seek it out, because there were intricacies and little nuances in his facial expressions that sold. He almost hated the fact that he was asking for a rematch. Like, he was almost going to demand the rematch because he's so correct. I actually had you beat there. But if I couldn't get it done on the night, there was almost a flicker of like, I shouldn't be asking for a rematch, but I want one kind of thing.
Because he knows he can beat him.
Because he knows he can beat him.
He know he had him beat. He'd hit 2 crossroads. He was about to hit a third. He had Roman beat.
He really did. And that's inarguable. So then when we get hit with this F5, which then is followed up very quickly by a second F5, the second F5 happens because Brock takes Cody by the head and just sort of pulls him up to his feet. And the lack of expectation from Cody, who to that point had been giving it a cool, oh my God, I'm so ready for this moment, almost like full-on white meat babyface smiling to the hard cam, it blindsided him. It blindsided him. Brock picks him up by the
short and
rib, by the rib tapes that he's got on to sell the rib injury. And ragdolls him into 2 German suplexes and throws him out of the ring. We get an F5 onto the table, which broke like what's your new favorite phrase? A biscuit.
It was a biscuity break.
A biscuity break. A bunch of chair shots on the outside. An F5 onto the steel stairs in the ring. And we think that's it. Brock starts to leave the ring. Everyone is down. Every member of the backstage area comes down and tries to take over, tries to stop Brock. Brock's having none of it. The second Brock leaves the ring and starts walking up the ramp, everyone's in the ring to look after Cody. But Cody starts stirring, and Brock can't have that. So Brock turns right back around, heads right to the ring, yet more beatdown. Two things were very brutal in what he did. First of all, he walked over Cody's neck.
Yeah, like proper foot on the throat.
The kind of classic, I'm a big wrestler and you're a small wrestler, so I'm going to walk over your back, except it was his throat.
Yeah. Then
he takes that chair, a couple more chair shots to the back, and then literally just drives it into Cody's throat, really going for it, really trying to cause him real pain here. And then he decides that's enough. Leaves, heads to the back. Everyone's checking on Cody. I'm watching the clock. We are setting down to 3:59, heading to the close of the hour. Brock comes back onto the stage. Everyone is nervous. He rips off his wrist straps, and we get this kind of incredible opening of Raw shot, which they can never use in the opening segment because it ain't PG, pal. Brock, double middle finger, Austin style, directly down lens. The camera goes through them to Brock's face, which is there to say, eat it.
Yeah. It was a hell of an angle.
It really was an interesting angle.
It split our audience. So we did live reactions to this, which you can go back and watch on the WrestleTalk podcast. I'm also going to clip out just that little bit, so you can just go and watch that smaller clip if you don't want to go through the whole thing. But please go and watch the whole thing. We had a great time doing it. But it did split the audience that we had watching it. And actually, I mean, I'm looking at the live chat now, and it's sort of split again.
And I'm split. to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought was interesting. So I wanted to dive into that. So we asked our audience, we did a poll, was that good? And it was no, 55%, yes, 45%. That is more or less a 50-50 split from the small pool that we had. That is anecdotal, but it is kind of factual data, but it is more, based on the poll that we had. So I'm going to ask you then, because you think that you're quite split on this.
Yeah.
I know where I stand on
Well,
this.
where do you stand?
I think I'm more positive on this. I thought it was a really good angle.
Yeah.
It was an angle that even though someone predicted it in the UltraChats, shout out to Justin Edelheat, who predicted this was going to happen.
Yeah.
He wrote here, no way Brock wrestles tonight. Match starts and he F5s Cody. But he also then predicted that Riddle comes out as Brock's replacement. So.
Right, yeah.
But he also predicted that Riddle was going to come back. So I thought it was a great angle. And I think it serves a couple of different things. It moves Cody out of the Roman title picture, which we can then delay, because what you don't want to do is over egg that pudding. If you want to try and find a new crowning moment for him, be that at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or something like that. Particularly SummerSlam, I think, is where we might be looking towards for that rematch. You need to find a way to keep them apart. And this is a way to keep them apart, but Cody...
Keep Cody in the main event picture.
But keep Cody in a main event picture. Keep him in a really big program, as opposed to just feuding with The Miz or something, or feuding with someone in the mid-card, or Seth Rollins, or, something that he's already done. This keeps him in a big-time program.
Yeah.
And Cody versus Brock Lesnar, I think is a really intriguing match.
It's certainly one that we haven't seen.
That's it. Like, that to me is, the Tony Khan buzzword. That feels dream match to me. So I actually am quite into this. So let me tell, where were you at?
The reason the thing was, that opening segment I was really high on. it. And if any of you had joined us last night for the WrestleMania finale, I was and am kind of chill about it. I don't think that is the end of the story. I don't think that was the moment.
You were the one being called the WWE shill.
I was
huffing on the copium.
I drank the Kool-Aid years ago. I'm the mark. Guilty as charged. But I kind of was giving it room to in the cliche, let it play out, see what happens. And I felt vindicated at the start of the show. I really did. I was like, well, here you go. See, we're getting the bloodline. First of all, the Usos didn't come out with Roman. It was just Roman, Heyman, and Solo.
I thought that was a nice misdirect, actually.
Really was good. We also had Cody immediately coming out to a Lion's reaction. Like it was really, really well received by the crowd. That woe was hefty. And the segment was really good. So I think the reason that I'm a little bit, because I do think that the beatdown was also good. I think it was sold well by Cody. I think the surprise element of it is why there was no fight back. The injury element of it was why there was no fight back. I think that was very effective. I think the reason I'm feeling a bit wonky is because this show was hot garbage.
It was not a good show
from start to finish, and unfortunately, it had Vince McMahon's fingerprints all over it, and I have been trying my hardest to deny that he is in any way involved. Yeah. But my friend, if that's his idea of not being in the weeds, what is his idea of being in the weeds? We will get into that when we get into the full breakdown of the show, because they're very interesting from Sean Ross Sapp. He had the rundown of Raw. Sean has this every week, and every week it's bang on the button. He gets the Raw rundown. He posts up on Fightful Select, and it is always absolutely to the letter correct. Yeah. Sean has got incredible sources within WWE. He had the rundown for this, and then as the show started, it went through 2 different changes. As it was on air, it was being changed, and the running order was being changed. So we'll go through all the changes that were made across the show. Another note as well is that the term medical facility was being used in reference to Bad Bunny. That is a Vinceism. No one used the word wrestler. And it was a badly paced show. And do you know what made someone on Twitter had pointed out that they were sat right behind the production, and the production had been given 3 new rundowns over the course of the first hour. Yeah.
So I wonder, for me, when I'm sort of looking at this now, and I'm trying to sort of why did I like this segment so much outside of the reasons I already provided? This show needed something.
Yes, it did.
So maybe I'm sort of latching onto that because it was such a boring show that I was desperate for something to happen. You know those like the John Cena promos to The Undertaker of just do something?
Yes.
Like I was almost pleading with the show to do something. If I had to watch another wrestler come out and cut a promo, I was like, I'm done with this show. Yeah. So the fact that I got something, it's the crumbs.
It was crumbs.
They gave me the crumbs, and I'm like huffing all these crumbs up and being like, nom, 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 nom. What a great angle. So I don't know whether or not I'm actually wrong on this one. Maybe I did enjoy this. Maybe I'm just excited that something else happened.
I don't think that you are. I think I'm interested to see it play out. I think I'm interested to see a Cody Brock thing. I think you make a compelling argument for it. I just don't want to see Vince McMahon's WWE anymore.
Well, me neither.
I really don't. And that's soured me on the whole show. As much as I did pop for the end, what I'm left with is, oh, mate.
Yeah.
You know?
So another question I was supposed to ask from this, do we think this is writing Cody off TV? Because Brock's going to be gone. Brock's not going to be on the show next week.
Well, then where are they doing this match? Crown Jewel?
I think King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia.
And so who's your main event?
On Raw?
Yeah. Because Roman's not going to be there.
That's the point I was making on the live reactions, that you need Cody on TV because Cody's your draw.
Yeah.
And you don't have anyone else that's on Cody's level. So writing him off TV feels like a epic mistake because I don't know who the main event is. Is it Seth again? Because we kind of relied on that late last year and it didn't do a lot for us.
This show was so bad.
So I don't know. I imagine Cody will come out next week. Or maybe he has a week off. But man, if he can't, we have got a main event set for next week. Well, at least a match announced for next week, which is the women's tag titles, Lita and Becky defending against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, who won a match against Damage Control on this episode. And that seems to foreshadow a Trish heel turn. So maybe that can be your main event next week. So you can kind of hang your hat on that. Keep Cody off for at least a week. And then bring him back to TV.
I don't think that Cody would be off though. I don't know. There's something. Cody, why would you write him off TV? I don't get it. But then again, are we trying to apply? I think this is ultimately where I come back to being really frustrated. We're trying to apply logic to what appears to be Vince McMahon in full control. Like that's. I'm pissed about it. Because point to me where else in the show Triple H. We've had 6-7 months of Triple H in charge, right? We know what a Triple H show looks like. It's not always perfect. Sometimes it's like this segment was wonky. This program has been booked bad, but the show has an element of cohesion. This show was a mess from the end of that segment to the beginning of the main event. This show was a complete mess. This Raw after Mania was Raw after Mania only by virtue of it being the Raw after WrestleMania. The way I described it during the stream is that it could have been an email. There was a lot of nonsense and nothing happening.
I did say on the reaction stream that we did, this felt like a Vince show. This didn't feel like a Triple H booked Raw.
Not at all.
It did not feel like a Triple H booked episode of TV. And one of the changes that was made on this was two women's three-ways that were supposed to sort of determine, kind of like he did with the US title. He did that when he first took over. With Ciampa won, right? So those were planned to crown a new champion, a new challenger rather. Couldn't think of my words there, for Rhea Ripley. Bianca Belair. Sorry,
it's the 20th hour of the show.
So it's the 20th hour of the show. It's nearly 4:30 in the morning. So apologies for that. But those were scrapped. And you know what was put in its place? Omos versus Elias, which was not planned for this show and got added in at the last minute. That feels like a real Vince change. I do not want to be, and I've said this on a few previous episodes, ever since Vince McMahon went back to the office. I'm not really here, pal, but look at all these new things that are happening that feel very much Vince-like. I don't want to be that person that's like, I think Vince is back, because I don't know that for sure. There's no reports that are saying these are Vince creative decisions, but they feel like Vince decisions. This feels like a Vince show. So I don't know. I don't know on that one. What I do know is I thought this was a hot end to the show. Yeah. Whether that is, I actually think it's a hot end, or whether I was just happy that something happened.
Yes, I think
remains to be seen, but it was at least something. because there was not a lot else on this show. Let us know in the chat what you made of this. Maybe we'll do another poll. Now that we've had a few moments to process this and we've all sort of talked through this. Modern Mother, actually, can we do another poll? I want to see if the poll changes. So can we do another poll, please? Was the heel turn actually good? We'll sort of find out. Because we'll do
we go for a while.
Yeah, we'll do the review poll at the end of this show. So curious to see.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for watching this. If this is your first time here, please do press the subscribe button. Give us a little thumbs up button. We do a lot of reviews of wrestling. We'll be doing a review of Dynamite on Thursday and SmackDown on Saturday. We do that every single week. And if you weren't watching the live reactions, the big news is these two guys right here. This is your new Raw commentary team. We are the Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves of the WrestleTalk Podcast now.
I'm Corey Graves.
100% looking at your shirt.
Thank you very much.
We are going to be your new Raw podcasting duo going forwards.
Yes, we are. I'm back, baby.
Dan's back by popular demand.
As is my chest.
Dan Layton is back to do the Raw Review podcast. So let's get into your UltraChats. Also, in the chats as well, as much as the poll, give our moderators some flowers because they are doing some amazing work.
They've nailed it over the past 6 streams. As much as you've been on every single one of them, they have too.
They have too. And shout out to our moderators today. I believe it's Mod Mother Jenna running the UltraChat documents, but I don't want to. I'm pretty sure it's Mod Mother, but I stand corrected if it was someone else. They have already reordered this into a Raw format, so I've got everything grouped together.
Killed it.
You guys are nailing this. We're kicking off with Eddie Pat, who says, I can almost guarantee you that Brock Lesnar beats Cody Rhodes. Vince never wanted Cody as champion. This show was dead in the water since hour 1. I couldn't be any more convinced that this was a Vince show.
I mean, I don't know that I buy that Vince doesn't like Cody because let's not forget how incredible his booking was from that return at WrestleMania 38. I still don't see this as a burial. My frustration and my confusion and my lack of knowing how I feel about this has more to do with the show as a whole than it does this angle specifically. I do still believe that Cody is the guy. I still believe the higher ups believe that Cody could be the guy. I don't think Vince hates Cody. I don't think this idea that he's this outside, and I've seen this a lot on Twitter, not just in these chats, not just in the chat there, all over Twitter over the past 24 hours, people being like, oh, you thought we were going to let Stardust win the belt? They spent a lot of money to get him back.
Yeah.
And they presented him for a long time as a star.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can look at the presentation he's had since coming back at WrestleMania last year, even before the injury and then after the injury, and say that company wants to bury Cody Rhodes and they don't see him as a star.
They don't put him in the main event if they want to bury him.
Absolutely not. They would have buried him. They don't just put him in the Stardust gimmick.
Specifically, they don't put him in the main event of the WrestleMania in the year they're trying to sell the company if they don't believe in him.
Absolutely, exactly. And then put him into a hot feud with Brock Lesnar as well. Like, they are fully behind Cody. I think this is more a way to just delay the rematch.
Yes,
this is a way to just delay the rematch, which actually brings us on to MDN's chat. Hard times breed better men. Roman goes for 1,000 days while Cody concentrates on Brock. This is a good angle for Raw while Roman remains on SmackDown. And then Cody can go back to Roman as a better man.
Yeah, I mean, my thought has always been, my thought from last night was very much, Cody's going to have to find some way to feel better about himself, and I wasn't able to get the job done. I was so close to getting the job done, but I didn't get the job done. And what damage does that do to him? How does he perceive himself as a result of that? As a first chapter in that story, yeah, cool. Just hope you can book it right, Vinny.
Justin Edel, he said, well, there he is. I called it exactly how I predicted it would happen. Well, not exactly how you predicted it.
Yeah, Matt Riddle wasn't there.
Not exactly how you predicted it, but to give him flowers.
You did get that
bit. It's free TV. Brock never wrestles for free. Tell that to Kofi Kingston.
That was $1 billion opening show, yeah.
Great ending to the show. Underscore has said, Vince back with a merger with UFC. No wonder Brock and Roman are back on top. It can only ever be those two. Mid-company, all your heroes lose forever. They drove me away in 2015, and they've done it again tonight. Alazar said, this is the last straw. Cody got vinced. He's a traitor to WWE in their eyes. I'm done with them giving any hope at time WWE. They effed it up because of their own ego. They always have seen themselves as the only game in town. If you're not with them, buried. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I think chill out on that one. However, also when you say that because of their own ego, I do agree on Vince forcing his way back in because of his own ego.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that thing of like your toxic ex sees you doing well without them and finds a way to still get their claws back into you. He saw the company doing well without him and was like, no.
I completely agree with that. We mentioned this on the live reactions, the idea that, you know, in the CNBC interview that he did, where he looked like, you asked AI to draw Walt Disney. It's a joke from my friend Ash. I'm not giving credit for it. And he said, like, oh, I was done.
Yeah.
And then I was talked into coming back.
Nah.
Bollocks.
Bollocks were you done.
Absolute
you
bollocks were you done. You were never done.
The reports were that he felt wronged. He was given bad advice. And if he just stuck around, then the allegations would go away and everyone would forget. And if that ain't borne fruit in the interview itself, when he said, sure, I've made some mistakes, but what I do is I own up to them and move on. You don't get to move on when you are allegedly paying people to hush up sexual misconduct allegations. That ain't your choice, my friend. You don't get to move on, allegedly.
Also, those aren't mistakes.
No, it's not a mistake. Whoops, I accidentally overcooked the pasta. That's a mistake. What you were doing wasn't a mistake. It was allegedly.
Allegedly, of course, allegedly. And on top of that, I don't think you ever did own up to them.
No! It's not owning up to something when you pay people to keep it quiet. That's the opposite of owning up to something. That's covering it up. Allegedly.
Allegedly. John C., thank you so much for the allegedly.
I'm back and I'm cross.
I'm back and I'm cross. Dominic Diamond's intro to Games Master Series 4 when he returned to the show was, I'm Dominic Diamond, I'm back and I'm grumpy.
I'm not normally grumpy. I was feeling good last night.
John C., this is a burial of Cody Rhodes. I disagree, but well, let's continue. We're literally watching the Triple H reign of terror on returning stars or outsiders coming into WWE to lose and get destroyed. WWE is crap. What is the point of all of this? Isn't Brock retiring? This is an FU to the fans.
Triple H, not the villain here, because Triple H ran NXT by hiring, I mean, sure, kill the indies, whatever, but he hired these stars that were made elsewhere. Often let them keep their same name: Adam Cole, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura. Drew McIntyre was only Drew McIntyre because he was already Drew McIntyre, kind of thing. And he pushed them to the moon. He pushed them to the moon, and we were so excited to see them. He made NXT a very exciting prospect by letting these people do their thing, and then they got to the main roster, and to a man. And who was that man? He's got a mustache.
Andy Madrid said, there was a really intriguing ending. I'll be more hopeful than my last Ultra Chat now. What if this is the Cena post-Mania 28 redemption story, but done better? Plus, in terms of WWE, Cody beating Brock is a huge rebuilding up point. Well, that's if he beats Brock, of course.
That's true. I mean, you're not the only one. I mean, there's another chat coming up, but I've also seen, I was looking at Twitter before we hopped onto this stream, where a lot of people are making that Cena 28 comparison.
Brock attacked him again.
And it was in fact there was a very similar. It's in a chat, so I'll let them have the say.
Ryan Singh said, "I'll leave you with this: WrestleMania 28. Cena sat on the ramp after losing to The Rock and was distraught. Raw after Mania, Brock returned, shook Cena's hand, and attacked him. The same thing has happened with Cody in the exact same way. Cena also won the title at the next WrestleMania."
Yeah, it's that shot of Cody that I love so much, of him sat there being like, how in the hell did this slip through my fingers? In comparison to that Cena sat on the ramp situation, it is a very similar moment. And if the story is the Rocky rebuild situation that we've been talking about, Philadelphia, all the rest, I don't personally wait until Mania to put the belt on him if we're trying to build SummerSlam up. However, giving him Brock Lesnar as his first act of, I'll deal with you later, I've got some redemption to do.
Yeah.
You can do a lot worse than that.
I mean, yeah, if you are going to do Roman Cody 2 at Mania next year, I mean, it's a hell of an idea, and part of me loves it, but that does also mean another year of Roman on top with the bloodline. And I think people's patience is wearing thin.
Yeah.
But there have been times where people's patience have worn thin before with the bloodline, and they've pulled it back.
That's true.
They've always had a way to pull it back, so we'll certainly see on that. Tony Ramos said, that was a god-awful show except for the beginning and the end. I'm still not convinced that losing to Roman was a good idea, and against my better judgment, I tried to give Raw a chance, and it sucked. Hopefully this feud will keep Cody up. Chris McIver has said, hey guys, thank you for the fun weekend. Am I the only one seeing Major 2012 Cena in this? Suffers the huge loss at Mania, then Brock returns the next night. Maybe Cody will get his win at Mania 40. That's 3 people now. Seen the similarities. David Contreras said, this is my first super chat. Been watching since 15. I'm now 19. This was really disappointing. No surprises or new exciting stories. Brock and Cody sounds cool, but it would be better if Cody was champ, although I'm not as mad as Pete is for Cody not winning.
I don't think anyone's as bad as Pete is.
I think I actually agree. There was a surprise. Brock turned heel on Cody, and that's a new exciting story. For me, I would say.
I agree with that. I think I'm just so mad about the rest of the show and Vince
100%.
undeniably being in charge.
The Roller Coaster here says, hey guys, anyone else getting weird end of AEW Cody vibes from the angle? Cody playing up the super sympathetic babyface. Please cheer for me. Here are my shoes. Now I'm on a stretcher. I'm out on this. I love you guys.
I'm not getting that, but
yeah. Mad Dan 87. I guess now, Dan, you have to answer to you. Now you have to answer your question of what's next for Cody. I guess Roman has gone to SummerSlam. Glad I never bought tickets to Money in the Bank. What's trash? Well, if you haven't bought tickets to Money in the Bank, but if you're looking for something to do, maybe we'll be doing something.
Hello.
Oh, I mean, we could do something there, but what if we also did something for King and Queen of the Ring?
Oh, that's also a decent hour, isn't it?
And what if we also did something for SummerSlam?
Oh.
What if we had 3?
If only we had some insight from the guy who's heading the live events department of WrestleTalk. I don't...
Yeah, what if we did 3 live parties that actually happened this time? Jake WTW said, the angle at the end of the show was a fine heel turn, but that does not make up for the dumpster fire of a show. That's a very good point.
That's where I'm at. Thank you for verbalizing.
Great point, Jake. Like I said previously, it feels like they booked this angle and thought everyone would just forget about how terrible the rest of the show was. That's a really good point. I like that a lot. Can I just hot tag to you?
Absolutely, but we didn't do it. So we missed, and that was unfortunate. And I'm going to wait here until you. Thank you. Did we get to the end of that one? So Slick Gently. Hey guys, first time Ultra Chat. Never did I think a Cody Brock feud would happen, but here we are. I just can't help thinking this would be much better if it was for the titles. Love you all. Slick Gently. Yeah, I mean, you could argue that he now can challenge for the titles again, so let's bash the heck out of you. Yeah.
Do you know what would be a real show that Vince is for sure back? If
undoing that.
Well, no, if Brock Roman is your main event of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Which it could well be.
Oh, God.
They did some teasers there on the show. I mean, granted, you could argue it's just callbacks, but it could be argued it's also as teasers.
Ari Emanuel said that he wouldn't have done this without Vince being in charge, and I've never seen something that made me so angry in my life. Scott Hawks says, Brock can earn the chance to get a shot at the title by helping Rhodes get at Roman, Brock's most hated enemy. So he destroys Cody, ensuring Roman stays champ because heel turn? Huh? It did look like they were completely surprised by this. They were...
We need a story for this.
Yeah.
We need an explanation.
I mean, next week.
But we're not going to get it from Brock, though, are we? Because Brock's not going to be on TV.
Unless they're taking Brock to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, maybe you tape something.
You know?
Yeah, Brock, I mean, they want to make this Backlash show big. So,
yeah, and it's the first Puerto Rico show in a long time. You know, there's put your big names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eddie Pat next.
Hey?
Eddie Pat's next. I'll do this. Maybe WWE is trying to make Cody Rhodes John Cena. Loses a match at Mania to the Samoan that everyone thought he would beat, gets attacked by Lesnar the next night, then beats the Samoan champion the following year. Vince LOL.
I hadn't refreshed the page. That was my fault. Joe Layton says, I've been big on Cody since Legacy. He's always had something about him. It broke me to watch him lose last night. I haven't been excited about a Mania match since Taker HBK at 25 and 6. If losing to Brock is the next chapter, no thanks.
I really need to text my cousin, actually, because she was, like, again, really on board with Cody in the Legacy days and kept telling me one day he'll be WWE champion. I actually haven't spoken to her yet about what she thought. Actually, I don't know if she's watched it either.
Well, there you go.
I'll text her.
Dan Man Dan, which is a phenomenal name. I think my issue with the ending is that I don't understand what Brock gets out of going after Cody. Maybe they can give us a real reason, but I'm not sold yet.
Good point.
That's a good point. The field team leader, I've lost complete interest now. Shrug emoji. I'm just a casual mark who brought into the whole Sami Cody journeys and the disappointment of WrestleMania Night 2 and now this show. I'm done for now. There's nothing for me to latch onto and invest in. More Brock? Nah. Star Leo, this is so saddening. I was in defense of the Roman win because of how good Roman's reigns and the stories surrounding him have been. I was genuinely willing to let it play out. But after seeing this 100% Vince show, my faith is low. End was fun, but still, that is it. Jax to B98. Aha! Brock is attacking Cody, so here's a Switchblade save. No. Oh, maybe they're waiting until they get back into the ring, then they'll hit the music? Oh, Brock's leaving. Wait, he's coming back? Oh. Nothing? Oh. And Brock's flipping me off. Cool.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever expecting someone to come out and say Cody.
I wasn't. That would have been one too many.
I think so. Like that's the angle.
If Brock was already a heel and this was a repeated, if there was a Reigns beatdown, maybe.
Yeah.
But this was something completely new. That was the story. Adwin, if this is a Vince thing, can we as an audience get an FU Vince one time, please, to make him go away? Because at this point, Brev should just stick to being a businessman or retire. F. Brock 2, we've seen Brock be Brock for decades now. I love Brock as a babyface. I really was into the Brock as a babyface. And Damian Gilliam, Cody's bread and butter is the chase. If he's not fighting back from something or Hangman paging, it ain't true Cody. Roman Cody 2 at SummerSlam, I can dig it. I agree with that.
Yeah, well, that's what we thought, that they might do the rematches at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And I don't hate that as long as you can recapture that magic that you had at WrestleMania, which is going to be a big ask.
Yeah.
But if you can recapture that, I'm all for it.
I trust a Triple H and Paul Heyman story to do it. Do I trust Vince McMahon and his yellow highlighter? No, no, I do not.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to read out this last Ultra Chat here. Before we go into the main show, this is from Turner Hoffman, who said, I saw a tweet from someone at the show who said they saw script rewrites handed off 4 times. Vince is officially back. Which will bring us into the whole of this show. So, yeah, the big story of this show, outside of Brock turning heel on Cody, is there was a running order in place for this show that Sean posted up. We'll go through that in a second. And then as the show started, it changed.
From the second the opening 2 segments finished.
And then it changed again.
Yeah.
And then it changed again. These are Vince McMahon moves. There was a podcast. In fact, I'll actually shout out the podcast, who it was, because I've got it here. If you can just give me a little bit of time.
Worth saying as well that it was announced before the show went on air this was going to be the first hour was going to be commercial free, and we started to notice pretty quickly that this was a really weird choice for a commercial free hour, and comes through with the explanation.
Man, I've got it here. Hold on, bear with me. Do apologize. Can you fill a bit more time?
What a time to be alive. Yeah, and it was pretty quick. I mean, the other thing was the start of the show was, and maybe this is when it happened. Triple H came out and cut a Kool-Aid promo saying, there's a lot of big news stories. Everyone's talking about WWE. WWE isn't going anywhere. The entertainment you love isn't going anywhere. Lol, in hindsight. And maybe that's when Vince was running around changing all the scripts because Triple H wasn't paying attention. He was too busy outside telling us everything was going to be fine.
God damn it. Like, Twitter's updates really suck. Because is it in
your mentions?
Yeah. They literally tagged me in the post so I could see it. And now it's like, it's not there anymore.
That's annoying.
Sort it out, Twitter. You suck now.
What a hot take that is. But tell us what the tweet was going to be.
So the tweet was, it was a picture from a podcast. I'm so sorry that I can't name the podcast. If the live chat can let us know, that'd be really appreciated. Because it was from behind of the production table, and they were handed the new script, the new rundown multiple times throughout that first hour. So it happened a lot, which is very much a Vince move. Here is what the original plan for the show was going to be. So it was going to open with a Triple H promo. Then it was going to have Roman, Solo, and Heyman's promo. Then Liv Morgan versus Dakota Kai versus Piper Niven.
Right.
So that was our first match that's been cut.
Right. Straight away.
Rey Mysterio.
And not only is that a match cut, that's an angle cut.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory, which we did get. A tag title match of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Street Profits, which ended up just being a straight match. Then a Seth Rollins segment. Bobby Lashley versus Mustafa Ali. spoiler promo, which Sean said was Belair and Rhea Ripley. Then Candice LeRae versus Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Sky, which was then cut.
Mm-hmm.
The Miz promo segment, and then the main event. And the other things that were cut were Bayley was scheduled to be on the show accompanying Damage Control, but for some reason she was cut at the last minute. So those are like the big changes that happened on this show, was cutting the 2 women's triple threat matches, which are very Triple H things, and added in a Moss versus Elias.
Which is very not
a Triple H thing. It's so curious and so interesting that those are the changes, because those are things you can like point to and say red flags.
Also, Triple H loves a long match. First hour, commercial free, we get a long women's triple threat match. Instead, it's replaced by a bunch of promos and a squash match with Omos. You can't have a more clear delineation between who put that on television.
Yeah.
One of them is Triple H, one of them is Vince. I have tried so hard for the past however many weeks since January, since Vince came back, forced his way back onto the board in a season of succession that I would say jumped the shark. And I've been trying really hard to deny that it's possible, and hope for the best. Maybe he's really not involved. Maybe he's just whatever. But it's so evident. It's so evident I could vomit.
Thank you to Jordy Vivo, who said the podcast that we were referencing is called That's Freaking Wrestling Podcast.
Right, there you go.
That's Freaking Wrestling Podcast. They were the person who posted up that Twitter image, so thank you very much. Go check them out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeet.
The other thing, aside from local medical facility, is the tag match that we got instead of the 2 women's 3-ways, which was Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Damage Control, with the winner getting a tag shot against Becky and Lita for next week, were 2 teams that lost at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's not a Triple H booking decision.
Nope.
He books his winners to then get opportunities at something else. Booking 2 losers? It just doesn't feel like a Triple H choice. It feels like a Vince choice because Vince doesn't care. Vince wins and losses don't matter.
I'm not here to say that Triple H booked perfectly every single time. I think the evidence of we've talked about it loads. It doesn't get it right a lot of the time. The Bianca and Asuka feud was a whole pile of nothing, as was the Charlotte Rhea feud. He's had trouble booking the women's division really since Damage Control came back. Debuted as a unit. I'm just mad.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the show. So the show opened. It's not going to take us long, by the way. The show opened with Triple H coming out to cut quite a long promo, actually, but was essentially, thank you for WrestleMania. Thank you for being part of WrestleMania. WrestleMania was a great success. We did very well at WrestleMania. A lot of people were there. We got loads of big social numbers. Everyone's talking about us. And there is news. He didn't say off sale or merger. He just said there's a lot of news surrounding us today. Everyone's talking about WWE today, but I want to let you know, WWE will always be WWE, and we are here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I covered that in about 45 seconds. It took him 15 minutes.
It did, yeah.
But he got a great reaction from the crowd. It was nice to see Triple H out, even as many people pointed out, he does look like Obadiah Stane. And it was nice to see Triple H on the show. I thought this was actually quite a nice little opening to a Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
This wasn't a commercial-free first hour.
Commercial-free first hour.
When you look at the original rundown, which would have had like 2 matches in that triple threat match and the Mysterio Austin Theory thing, what we got instead was just 1 match in that, and it was a 1.5-minute squash by Omos.
And by the time the Mysterio Austin Theory match started, literally the bell rang and we went to commercial break almost immediately.
Yeah. So then we had the Roman promo with Cody, and then we got Omos versus Elias, and Omos won.
Elias I don't think got any offense in. I can't remember any, certainly.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
And you pointed out on the stream something Kevin Patrick said, which was that Omos is hungry, and you went, for what?
Yeah.
And that's a very good point.
What do you do with Omos?
What's he looking for? What's he want?
And this was just here to try and reheat up Omos, but I do beg the question of like,
for what?
For what? To what end? Like, is he going to be fighting another big lad? Like, who's the next big lad he's going to face? Bronson Reed?
Do Bobby again?
Do Bobby again?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it can't be either of those because we have a segment with those two later on.
Yeah, and I don't really care either.
Nope.
I think this Omos thing just is not working. And like Omos came out, cricket as per usual, wrestled to cricket as per usual, and he did his bog standard, not very good match as usual. The dude he's got no presence. It's incredible how little presence he has.
It's a vacuum.
He is a vacuum, but they're still pushing with it, which feels quite Vince-like. In an interesting backstage segment, of course it was interesting, the Bloodline were involved. The Usos...
Oh yeah, this happened on the show.
Yeah.
Christ.
The Usos walked up to Roman Reigns' locker room. Paul Heyman comes out and he's like, hey, the Usos, the greatest tag team of all time. Really good to see you. Like, what a great WrestleMania that we all had. Like, the tribal chief had. And Jimmy's like, yeah, no, it was good. We just want to just speak with our cousin. And Heyman's like, oh, he stepped outside. Him and Solo have got this very big tag team match coming up, so they're going out there to talk strategy. But you know what? I've got the jet running. We've already got the jet prepared. So you go there, go early, start the celebration early, get some drinks in, you have some food, which actually, they did this a couple of weeks back as well.
They did.
On TV. He said, go and get yourselves ready.
With Mahi Mahi. That was what it was, yeah.
It's because, Roman and Solo, they need to strategize. Jay looked sort of bit...
he had his number. He knew what was going on.
He knew exactly the score here.
And Jimmy looked disappointed too, but was a little bit more like, all right.
Yeah, okay,
all right.
It's fine. And so they walked away.
Sort of tail between their legs.
And Paul walks back through the door and says, don't worry, I've sorted it.
Yeah.
I got rid of them.
Yeah. It was so implying, of course, that Roman was there the whole time.
Roman was in there. And like Roman even said later, oh, my cousin's not here.
And I really appreciated it as a segment. I thought it was a really cool little segment. I thought it was a really interesting and effective choice. There was a moment where I was just like going, was this maybe a segment that was filmed for last night at WrestleMania that didn't get used and they've used on Raw instead? But then no, it didn't make any sense. So no, I thought it was a good segment. I really liked this, and this was still at the point where I was like, okay, the show could pick up.
Yeah, and particularly then with the next bit that we got, Bad Bunny got to cut a promo.
Oh yeah,
this will be a running theme tonight. Blank cuts a promo.
Yes.
So Bad Bunny got to cut a promo announcing Backlash because he is the host of Backlash.
Chatted with lovely Kathy Kelly.
And then Ray came out for, you guessed it, a promo where he thanks people. And then Austin Theory came out for a promo.
Yeah, there was a lot of talking.
And that led to a match between Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio.
Finally got a commercial break.
Not for the United States Championship, just a match. Just
for lols.
And it looked like Rey was set up to win. He hit the 619, or he was about to hit the 619, and Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest had run down and they attacked Rey behind the referee's back. Austin Theory hit A-Town down and picked up the win. If Austin Theory is going to win, why not just make it a title match?
Honestly.
Because it would have added some
drama
stakes to the match and some drama and some intrigue, and I think that would have been really fun. I think the crowd would have actually been really into cheering for Rey to win.
Put your title on the line, let's do it, yeah.
Yeah, I think the crowd would have been into that. I don't know why you...
To cap off his Hall of Fame weekend with a title win.
So I don't know why you didn't just make this a title match, but that's by the by. Because then what happened is Dom starts to beat down Rey, and he goes to the outside, and he gets in the face of Bad Bunny.
And they cut a promo on each other in full Spanish. And it was really effective.
Great. It was so cool. Because they looked awesome.
Yeah.
They looked really, really cool.
It looked legit.
It did look legit. And then Damian Priest stepped in. Because at that point, had he hit Bad Bunny or they shoved each other?
No, so I mean, Priest was there, and then Dominic, and I can't remember exactly how it went down, but I'm pretty sure Dominic went for a right hand. Bunny stopped it and pushed him away. So then Priest steps in, and again in Spanish, it's sort of like, what are you doing, bro?
And when Damian Priest stood up, I suddenly was like, oh yeah, they were a tag team.
Yeah.
They were the tag team at WrestleMania against The Miz and Morrison. They've got history. They've got interconnected storylines already. But now, Damian's a bad guy. Bad Bunny is still Bad Bunny. And he almost steps up to me like, look, I think you don't want to be doing this.
Yeah.
You don't want to be stepping up here. And then Damian Priest laid out Bad Bunny something fierce, choke slammed him through the announcer's table. It was a really, really cool, effective segment. And that sets up for you at Backlash in Puerto Rico. Bad Bunny and Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah. It's a really, I mean, they were pushing a lot last night, Puerto Rico on WrestleMania. There were a few of those kind of like, it was almost like, what was the name of the colognes? Their tactic, were they just called the colognes?
Yeah, the colognes, yeah.
They did their like the welcome
or
to
the
the beautiful paradise, like whatever. They did it the Shining Stars. It was one of those, they did a lot of those over the weekend, so they're really hyping the show as well they should. And it was really fun then to see Priest and Bad Bunny get into it and set this match up. It was a great table spot, great choke slam, really, really, really effective. Again, a nice little moment on the show.
I enjoyed this, and I think it'll set up a good tag match for...
I think it'll be fun.
My only downside I could say to this is that Rey and Bad Bunny will win. And I just think that's we're moving into Edge territory there, where Edge just kept beating members of the Judgment Day, but they were still feuding like they hadn't.
But as we said, Dom and Rey have only had one match.
They have only had one match, which is
they haven't even done the tag thing.
I didn't say it is.
It just feels.
It feels like it's on a slippery slope. To getting into that stage. And I really like Damian Priest backstage because Adam Pearce walked up and said, "Look, he's an ambassador for us. Like, we're working with him. Like, he's working with us. You can't be attacking him." And Damian Priest turned to Adam Pearce and be like, "I like Bad Bunny. He's a friend of mine. Like, we're bros. And if he wasn't a friend of mine, just imagine what I'd have done to him."
It was effective. Damian Priest was very good in this segment.
I hope, and this feels like this is more of a Bad Bunny Damian Priest thing
than Dom and Rey,
because Bad Bunny's the celebrity.
Yeah.
So I give all of this a thumbs up. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn came out for a promo.
They did.
And they basically laid out an open challenge. They never brought up the bloodline.
Nope.
Their whole deal was getting together to take down the bloodline.
Not mentioned once.
And they didn't really mention it. They just were talking about how like they deserved it.
They thanked the crowd as well. There was a lot of you deserved it, we deserve it, the crowd deserve it.
It was just we deserved this. And, in a way, they're right. Absolutely, they're right. And they laid out an open challenge for a tag team to come out. Street Profits came out, who'd won the WrestleMania Showcase match on night one. And that set up a match between the two of them. You thought you were getting a bit more heelish vibes?
Yeah, it felt like the promo that was cut beforehand from the Street Profits was a little bit sarky. There was almost, Tez was giving a sort of sarky, like, "Oh, well done, you do deserve more," kind of energy. And then in the course of the match, it felt like Tez was getting frustrated with not being able to get one over on KO, to the point where he like bailed out of the ring for a second, which is generally a heel thing to do. So I was intrigued by that. It didn't really come that way, but I thought I might have spotted a couple of heelish moments there.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm just making sure that I have turned my notifications off. I'm using my laptop. I thought it was a good match, though.
Yeah, the match was really entertaining.
Really good match, and you're right. Like
decent amount of time.
The Profits were working slightly more. They weren't the heels in this match. No. But in a babyface match, they were working as the heels might do.
And again, it was
they weren't the heels.
Listed on the rundown as a title match, but wasn't a title match. And I think Kevin, Patrick, or Corey Graves, or one of them said during the course of the match that if they were to win, it would put themselves in the picture. And I guess I thought it was an open challenge. Odd. Yeah, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn did pick up the win here. Yeah, as well they should.
As well into the stunners of the Hoover Kick. It was kind of an awkward spot. Yeah, so Kevin Owens hit the stunner and Montez Ford stood up and he was like dazed.
Waiting for the big kick.
It was a bit like playing WWF Attitude. And you stand up and you just sway around. And Sami was waiting for Montez Ford to go into the corner, fall back into the corner so he could do the Hoover Kick. But Montez Ford just kept stood there and just kept swaying. And so Sami Zayn literally walked up and was like, pushed him into the corner, then ran back and did his Hoover Kick for the win. Good match. It was the longest wrestling match on the show by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
This was the weirdest segment on the show because Seth cut a promo backstage
it was so odd.
With Kathy Kelly. And then he said, "You know what? I feel like hearing my theme music and hearing some people sing my song. I'm going to go to the ring." And he does his little walk down to the ring. And we cut back. We cut from a commercial. We come back from the commercial. And Roller's in the ring going, "I'm Seth Rollins. Trip." And then he just left. And that was it.
We had a commercial break, come back, they did a little promo for something else. Seth is still in the ring, and then Seth leaves. There wasn't even a suck it, Logan. There wasn't even he just left. It was so odd.
Yeah.
It was so weird. Do something for the live crowd, but don't give us it was the dictionary definition of yes, King, give us nothing, except it literally gave us nothing.
You're absolutely right. This for the live crowd. Sending Seth out there so the live crowd could sing along with the song.
Probably a t-shirt gun or something during the ad break.
It felt like a commercial break thing, but it made it to TV. But it also didn't make it to TV. We saw the start, we saw the end of it. It was so weird. The
show was rubbish, man.
So strange. Such a weird little thing. And then, guess what? Had a promo backstage with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
And Bronson Reed steps up to him, setting up a match between Lashley and Bronson Reed. Bronson talked about how he was eliminated last from the... Was he eliminated last from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? Yes, he was. And he was like, you taught me something. But now the student is going to teach the master something. So Bobby says, hey, do you want to have a match? And Bronson's like, yeah, not now. We'll tease that. Why would I want to do something exciting? We'll do that down the line. So we set up a future match down the line between them. However, Mustafa Ali walked in. And he said to Bobby Lashley that you need to think more positive, Ali. And Bobby said, well, are you suggesting that I have a match with someone? I don't see anyone else here. You'll do. Grabbed him, threw him into the ring, and beat him very quickly with the hurt lock.
I think there must have been less than a minute on the clock.
Yeah, probably. I bet I could probably find out. I can go to Cage Match, find out if I could spell Cage correctly. We then got Bianca Belair out for... You'll never guess what, everyone.
There was a promo.
A promo. And she talked about how she won at WrestleMania and how Asuka was a really tough competitor. She wants to face the best. This, again, was a segment to tease something future down the line because Rhea Ripley walked out, the SmackDown Women's Champion, and she wanted to cut a promo on her being like, you're lucky. You're the luckiest.
Yeah.
Because I won the Royal Rumble and I could have challenged you at WrestleMania, but I challenged Charlotte Flair instead. So you're lucky because you wouldn't have won. And Belair said, the only reason you didn't pick me
is because I would have won.
It's because I would have won. And they basically was like, well, let's see what happens then. This was very much I'll see you down the road, kid.
Yeah.
I thought it was effective in setting up something. The problem is it came like in a show where we had so much nothingness.
It was the first female presence on the show in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it was a promo about potentially setting up something in the future. And I found it infuriating. This show, if there was ever an advert for why there shouldn't be any WWE programming between WrestleMania and June, this show was it. Because what happened of note, really, that couldn't wait till June? Like, what was this segment?
Yeah.
It was nothing. And it sucked the energy away and there was so little left.
Yeah, I think that's true. Also, sorry, I didn't mean to giggle there, but I just saw a comment that just said plus 5,000 fans.
Yeah, but it was no charity.
There was no charity involved, but that did make me laugh. Also teased in this because Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez made their entrance. And we had a stare down between Ripley and Raquel to set up Ripley's first SmackDown program, which looks to be against Raquel. That's a great little program for her on SmackDown. I don't know what this means for her, like with Judgment Day, because she's now on a different show. But maybe the brand split doesn't
Judgment Day,
matter.
we're going to be having a feud with LWO anyway. So
I suppose, yeah, they're probably
and the LWO are going to be involved with the Bad Bunny storyline.
Yeah, you're right. Just move them all over.
Technically, Ray's SmackDown
go, absolutely. Yeah, scratch that. Just move them all across. I completely agree with that. That's on me. So I think a lot of this was teasing for things down the line. I don't know when you do the Bianca Belair Rhea Ripley match. I mean, you could do it at Survivor Series because that is the time.
Traditionally, the only time.
Well, I say traditionally, but it wasn't last year. Last year was War Games.
That's true.
We didn't do brand warfare last year. And I think there's an interesting idea of, and this has been something that's been pitched online, I did see, was this is a title unification match.
Yeah, because they are, as you pointed out on the stream, they're the only ones left.
They're the only split titles across the brands in a world where the brand split is seeming more and more irrelevant.
count.
So, and, there had been a report that there was going to be a draft coming up soon, but that report has been shot down by multiple other sources.
Yeah, it was PW Insider it was attributed to, but PW Insider said, nah, we didn't say that.
We never said there's going to be a draft. So there might not be a draft. We might just be doing away with the brand split completely. So, but I don't know. That's pure speculation on my part. We then got Raquel and Liv Morgan versus Damage Control, the winner of which will get a tag team title shot. We missed some of this.
Yeah, because the stream crashed.
Yeah, so BT Sport crashed, and then my PlayStation stopped connecting to the internet, so we had to reset the PlayStation. We loaded up the BT Sport app, and someone else in the office logged into our BT Sport account.
In absentia.
So we couldn't log into it, so I had to message them to get off. So we missed that. However, the live chat told us we missed nothing.
Yep. We did tune in back in time to see Liv Morgan get thrown over the top rope before we cut to an ad break.
Yep. Yeah, that was because the first hour was commercial free. Hours 2 and 3 then had to have a lot more commercials peppered through. But Raquel, it's because I've got double R.
Yeah.
Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan picked up the win, pinning Damage Control. Poor Damage Control, can't buy a win at the moment.
And no sign of Bailey whatsoever. Apparently no mention of her on commentary either.
As we said earlier, Fightful reported that there was she was supposed to be there, and for whatever reason, if there
was a turn and that's just now gone.
Could be. I don't know. But yeah, it's another L for Damage Control. Sucks to be them, I guess. I don't know what you do with this team. Oh, you'll never guess what happened next.
I would assume some wrestling.
No, unfortunately, it was a promo. The Miz came out for, you guessed it, another promo. And he talked about how he wrestled 3 matches at WrestleMania. So canonically, the Shane McMahon match counts, which means...
It wins with no contest.
Well, it means that Miz won one of them.
Yeah.
He won by ref stoppage.
I suppose. Also, first person to wrestle on both nights of WrestleMania ever.
Yeah. So
technically,
he was cutting this promo, and who should interrupt but a returning Matt Riddle?
And we popped because it was the first thing of note on the entire bloody show.
So it's worth noting when we're doing this recap, the end of the first hour was that Rey and Theory match. So that first opening hour that was commercial free was just Omos and Elias. It was the only wrestling in that first
that we
hour.
Saw.
It was just all promos and all talking and not a lot of it.
And a good first segment.
A good first segment with Cody and Roman for the main event.
Yeah.
But we were like, then we had some wrestling. So from Theory and Rey to this point here was almost an hour and a half of nothing. Odd segments, nothing matches, meaningless moments, just nothing. So yeah, I did get excited for Matt Riddle because it really was like, oh, bloody hell, something is happening on this show. I almost would have put this earlier in the night.
Yeah.
To break up some of the monotony.
Yeah.
So yeah, Matt Riddle came out. He attacked The Miz, muscled him up for a Bro Derek because they nearly didn't get this. And he hit the Bro Derek on The Miz, and they announced that he'll be having a match with The Miz Card Vortex next week on Raw, because when you make a return or you debut, you have to feud with The Miz. You'll never guess what happened next. It's only a bloody promo.
Hey!
Team Backstream backstage were
Lita and friends, thank you.
Sorry, Lita and friends backstage were bragging about their win over Damage Control, talking about the match that they've got next week for the tag titles.
Yep.
And at the end of this, we teased a little Trish heel turn.
And that's generous, I'll be honest. What happened was Byron went for a fist bump and Trish sort of half thought about it and then was like, nah, not so much, which felt more like a dunk on Byron than a tease of a heel turn. But again, scraps. Hoping for the best.
Sorry, can you fill for time for him, please? I just saw someone mention something in the chat, and I just want to double check. That's correct.
And again, it was this thing of we thought perhaps the tag match was going to go down at
okay, it was a couple of days ago. It's fine.
At Thingy Face Backlash, but no, it will be next week on the show. What was the?
Well, it was something that Bailey tweeted on April 2nd, which was sometimes the most romantic love story comes to an end. Bye.
Wow.
That was after the first night of WrestleMania. So you could read a lot into that.
Yeah.
And then her being cut from the show tonight is probably adding some reading into it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Probably keep an eye on that one, everyone. But yeah, that's the match next week. And you're right, like it's generous to say that it's a tease of a heel turn, but There have
Could
been reports that
Yeah.
Trish is going to turn heel, and that's going to lead to Trish and Bayley feuding with Lita and Becky. But if they're also going to lose the tag titles, which they might do next week, maybe they'll just have another match. But cool, Becky and Bayley feuding more.
God damn! Cross!
This is your most Pete.
I know. I'm the one who's optimistic. I'm the one who gives things benefit of the doubt.
Your peak Pete
Goodness
right now.
me!
And then we got the main event. And that was the show. It was not a good.
This was, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst wrestling show I have seen in 25 years. I'm angry. I think it's because Vince is back. I think it's because there's no doubting it this time. We had hope, and the hope was taken away. Oh man,
I don't know if I would go as far as say it was like the worst.
Yeah, I'm in my feels.
Yeah, and I think that is absolutely acceptable.
Cause I'm in my feels because it's like egg on my face for giving it leniency last night. I don't like being shown up. All right,
it's a good one. You've made Dan feel bad about himself. I hope you're happy.
I'll do a button up because you.
Oh no,
Hilton.
It was bad. It was a bad Raw after Mania. Is it as bad as Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke walking out of a tag match and then acting like they won? I don't know.
Well, at least something that happened. At least there was a match.
Yeah, I don't know. There was wrestling, I guess. But I really thought this was going to be a statement show, a Raw after Mania show. Apparently, USA Network were advertising this as the third night of WrestleMania. The third night of WrestleMania. Someone that sent an ultra chat during our reactions being like, I don't know how it was advertised to you guys, but this was being pushed huge on USA Network. Yeah. And it sure did not feel like the third night of WrestleMania. This felt like a show that had multiple changes and cobbled together nonsense.
There's a boring show, right? There's a show where it's like, that didn't hit, and that didn't hit, and there you go, and that's another one. That's 3 hours done. And then there's a show that just feels empty and contemptuous. Yeah. And I feel contempt for this production. I feel fury, and that's why I can't fully like the finale. The opening was good, the ending was good, everything else in between. From the ripping up of the running order to potentially people that Bayley tweet has upset me, like to just women being given crumbs, and they've had no wonder there was no women for the first 2 hours because they were supposed to have triple threat matches and they've had to organize an entirely new match and figure out what they're going to do with it. I'm angry about that. Yeah, Vince, can I say a swear? Just the one?
I'll give you the one.
Fuck off!
It's 1 hour 7. If our moderators want to note that down for editor Vinny. I don't know, man. It was not a good show, though. It was messy. It was boring at times. But I did like the main event angle. I did like it, but we'll see. I mean, the Fightful report was that Vince was in Gorilla. Vince McMahon is at the show. We're told he's in gorilla position for the opening segment. We'll learn if he's there throughout the show. So he was there.
That feels hostile takeover. Hey, Trips, go out and cut your promo while you're here.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that's the thing as well. Like, Agent Cheese. I hope they fire Vince. That's impossible now. He's in charge of the bloody thing.
TKO. Well, technically, Nick Khan's he's a president of a different company. Yeah, he's not in the weeds.
But he's the boss's boss.
Not bad.
He's in the Pope's exorcist terms. Nick Khan is Russell Crowe and Vince McMahon is God.
Oh God. Oh God.
So let us know what you think. We have got a poll up now in the chat. So Mod Mother is like, good morning, Dan. We've got a poll up now.
You only get one, you got to use it well, is what I'm saying.
Got a poll up now. Let us know what you thought. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Your opinion and voice on this show truly matters, so let us know. Dan gives it a thumbs down, as do I think. But let's get into your remaining Ultra Chats on this one and see what you thought of the show. Let me just quickly sort myself out here. Cypherian says, Triple H's speech felt like Warrior's speech at the Raw after his Hall of Fame induction. Could Triple H be on the way out within the week?
I really don't think so.
I don't think
They circulated that internal memo that said Triple H was still in charge of creative, but then they did that show, so who bloody knows?
Yeah, but they also said that, Vince ain't back, guys.
He doesn't get into the weeds, does he?
Yeah, they
weeds.
literally were telling talent. He's just here to facilitate the sale. He's not going to be here at TV. I'm in charge of creative.
If anyone who is a WWE talent is watching this broadcast, go on strike. You have my backing. Strike action. Walk out on him. Walk out on him. Make him go away. Tell those new people who are in charge that you will not stand for this because we don't want to and you don't deserve it. Strike.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Actually, no, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to wish anyone to lose their job.
No.
Alizar7 here says, now rewatching that Triple H speech again, it kind of felt like he was saying goodbye in a way. I get the feeling the next couple of weeks we may hear of a new creative direction. That's the second person who said that. I don't know. We'll see. Sheldon Jackson said, I'm thinking that they do this at King of the Ring in reference to Cody and Brock. The same weekend as Double or Nothing. I'm starting to think that this is Triple H getting payback for the throne smash in 2019. At least Cody didn't go right back down the card after losing to Roman. I don't think it's punishment.
No.
It's not. Turner Hoffman, people would be happier with ending if Vince wasn't back in creative control and the show wasn't so damn rubbish.
Agreed, yeah.
That I completely agree with. I think people would be kinder to this angle if the rest of the show had been better.
If the rest of the show was what we were Fightful had, yeah.
I'm just Marcus. This is it. This is the story continuing. They ruined the perfect main event moment and match for this. Cody versus Brock for nothing? Does anybody care? I stand by what I said last night. I need a break from WWE for a bit. I'll keep watching through you guys. Joshua Lopez, I'm going to Backlash. Already upset that Cody isn't champion, but if you tell me that Brock versus Cody also doesn't happen at Backlash, then I will be completely throwing away the tickets because they are screwing the Puerto Rican audience.
That's what makes me think Brock might be there because it's a brand new market. Or at least a market they haven't served in a while. Bad Bunny and Ray versus Priest and Dominic is a great match, but it's not the main event.
I also, just agreeing with some people in the chats there, I still don't feel this is a burial or punishment.
No, I don't.
I don't. Interestingly, we ran the poll for longer this time of was it actually a good heel turn? Did people enjoy the segment? And we got more or less the exact same result, which is like 55 no, 45 yes. Very interesting. Andy Madrid said, I feel like I had the most fun 9-ish months of TV ever. Now it's back to the days where I didn't want to talk about how I like wrestling. I know people like to jump to Vince's back, but maybe Triple H just isn't a consistent booker and we're in a bad era.
I think that there is a wholehearted difference between a bad Triple H show and what we just watched. I've seen bad Triple H shows and I think it's well worth criticizing Triple H when he deserves it. I think the booking of the women's division has been absolutely atrocious.
Just going to point out as well, fake name here said, didn't Steph say that everything was fine and nothing's going to change? And then she left. Jenna, our mod mother, has just pointed out that apparently Worst Raw was trending in the United States on Twitter. And everyone, again, just give a shout out to Jenna for running the UltraChat document. She's awesome. And the rest of our moderating team. Eddie Pat 14 said, Night 1 was amazing. And it's been all downhill from there. That I agree with. I watched the entire night show just for that main event, and it didn't even happen. I think we accidentally sold our soul to Vince for night 1 to the monkey's paw.
It's a closing ceremony of what we thought was a halcyon summer. We had the night 1 that we wanted, and the rest of it was not.
Alex Clark Thompson here said, this might actually be the worst Raw after Mania of all time. Vince is back and he's sticking 2 fingers up at us for being happy he was gone. 0 out of 10 show.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sorry, I checked up a little bit there.
I thought you were like emotional because of 2 fingers.
The Pain Train, in all honesty, apathy.
Yeah.
Just complete apathy. Tag title match was fine. Opening promo until the mention of tag match was fine. Everything else, absolute garbage. If this is how it is going forward with the new ownership, count me out. -5 stars.
It's so hard to care about anything that happened because so little did happen.
Chiara said, my ultra chat yesterday said, I can't wait for WrestleTalk's annual worst Raw post-WrestleMania ever again. I called it. You could have gone for Chiara was right for the title. Well, actually, I think you're fine, Chiara. I didn't name it that. And the reason why I didn't is because of your ultra chat from yesterday. But to be positive, it could have been worse. It may be next year's one.
No.
Kevin Simpson says, this was a terrible show, but an amazing angle at the end. Do you think SmackDown will be the actual new Raw after Mania? Last year, so it certainly felt like it.
SmackDown has generally been
it's the
a more
show.
Effective show, yeah.
Yeah. Riot DR, hey yo. No call-ups, no debuts. The only return was Matt Riddle and his leggy new look. We got no actual main event. Omos crushed Elias. again. Lashley crushed Ali again. Damage Control still losing. Bad show. But you are both fantastic.
Thank you very much for a little bit of positivity.
Pain Train again says, clarifying my previous Ultra Chat, apathy was my response to the main event angle. Okay, interesting. Also, just want to say thank you for your hard work over the past few days. It's very much appreciated. Jonathan Byron said, was this just a 3-hour WWE commercial for all the new viewers that they think are now tuning in for the WWE sale today? 7-foot giant squash match, huge entrances, general character explanation, promos, fast pace, lots of sponsored bits, etc.
If this is their idea of a commercial to make people want to come back, oh dear.
Oh yeah, bad time.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Kieran SR said, the show was a stinker, but that's preaching to the high choir. I'm just confused why Brock attacked Cody. People are comparing this to Cena, but he attacked Cena to prove that he's the top guy after being out. I can't see why this time, but I guess we will see.
Unless your argument is because he's been suffering and the happy-go-lucky cowboy almost had him lose to Omos at WrestleMania and he's pissed about it.
Pain Train also adds, also my bad for thinking the tag match was for the title. Face palm. We've got an unknown username here. If you can just read some of these, because apparently it said, I've just tagged you on something on Twitter. Please go look at it. It's a no BS a cash story. I'll go and have a check.
Okay, Mr. Eli Max says, hey guys, this has been a bit of a letdown, but you have really helped the show fly by. I just want to let you know about a dream of mine, do a fantasy booking video with Adam and you guys. Thanks for the great content, gents. Jam. Adam and I can't be in the same place for too long or the world will implode. It's the twin syndrome. We have some new members. We have Color Blend Media, Michael Trainer, and Carter Steele. Thank you so much. What a month for a weekend for members.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you all so much who've become members over the weekend. And 100 new people have become members over the weekend. Thank you so much. That unknown user, please do let our moderators know. The things I've been tagged on, it was the support WrestleTalk sign.
Love that.
So if it is that, we've been... me and Edgar. Me, Dan, and Edgar.
We go back.
Oh, we go back.
We really do.
We've been doing a lot of work across the live reactions to get him featured on there.
Bedazzle. Besides the ending segment being kind of bad, this show was effing terrible. Thank you for helping me get through this nonsense show. You made it enjoyable. I mean, yeah, it was bad. It just was bad. There's no good. Jake WTW, if there is one good thing that came out of this terrible show is that we will be getting more Dan reviews. Hashtag Dan that Dan.
That is true.
Thank you very kindly. And Carter Steele with the Sorkin ending here. What kind of a Raw was this?
Well, that's a great Ultra Chat to end on that. Well done, Carter. I'm just going to end the poll now, but I think it's pretty conclusive as to what you thought of this show. And this is a big change in pace that we've seen on Raw feedback here on the WrestleTalk podcast as of late. Thumbs down, 71%, mid 20%, only 8% thumbs up.
It had been mid for a while, and then for me went to a big giant thumbs down. I'd go so far as to give it 2 thumbs down.
Yeah, man.
I'm cross. I'm hot.
It was a weird show. I've now got to go and try and write my review of it. And I don't know what I'm going to say about it. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching us over the past weekend. We really do truly appreciate every single one of you. I am just going to quickly post into the chat now. Go and watch Fightful's review. Denise and Sean are reviewing this at the moment.
That's my tube ride home viewing.
Everyone, go to that link and go say hi to Fightful from us. Because we love those guys over there. We love Sean. We love Denise. They've done exceptional hard work over this weekend. And you should all go over there and enjoy. They're doing a Blue Chew read at the moment.
Love that for them. Love that specifically for Denise.
So all go over there, say hi to them from us, and show some support to the good folk at Fightful. We'll be back on Thursday with the AEW Dynamite review. Well, actually, we'll be back on Wednesday, back tomorrow. No.
Tomorrow, technically.
Yeah, we're back on Wednesday with the latest match of Worst Match Ever, which is Vince versus Pat McAfee. What a week to be posting that one.
Gracious.
With probably a lot of dated references to Vince not being back. So, there you go, everyone. Go and support Fightful, please, everyone. And go subscribe to Fightful Select because we've used a lot of their material today. And Sean does incredible work. Thank you to our moderators.
Oh my God! Praise the mods. Like honestly, the work. This has been a marathon weekend, which has had ups, massive ups, incredible moments, some crushing downs, but you've played a blinder. Really, genuinely, I think I've had a lot of fun with you. All the extra ones that you've been doing while I was asleep, you really nailed it. Thank you all for joining us as well, and the mods have absolutely nailed it. They've done such an incredible job. We
love each and every single one of you. We'll have a full edited review of Raw and some news, because there's going to be lots of news up tomorrow here on WrestleTalk News. So yeah, subscribe to everything. We love all
just
of you.
Everything.
Danny, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so excited to be back. I can't wait for this new Vince era. You're welcome, Pete.
One last thing from Eric, who says, do anyone else think that Brock's double bird was Vince speaking through the camera?
Yeah, a lot of people have felt that way.
To say, deal with it.
Yeah.
Go raid Fightful, everyone. We will be back soon. I have been Luco and DAD. That has been the Professor Dan Layton. Jam that jam.